एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः. So yesterday we did that Nachiketa reached Yamaraja's palace, and 3 days and 3 nights he remained there without food and drink. So when Yamaraja came, he wanted to be relieved of the sin of keeping such a powerful brahmachari without food and drink for 3 nights and 3 days, 3 days and 3 nights. And he asked that he must ask 3 boons from me to relieve me of the sin. So it was, the shloka was 9th shloka. We had Tasmat Prati Treen Varan Vrinishva. Because of these 3 days and 3 nights, please ask from me 3 boons, vara. Is asking one after another boon. Although it is all mythological story, but there is lot to understand, go deep into it. Understand the character of Nachiketa, who was fit for knowledge, character of Vajasrava, he was not fit for knowledge. Understand the social structure, the moral code, many things are there in this. 10th verse. Shanta sankalpa suna yatha syat.
Shanta sankalpa sumana yatha syat.
Vitamanyur gautamo ma bhimrityo.
Vitamanyur gautamo ma bhimrityo.
Tvat prasrishtam ma bhivadet pratita.
Tvat prasrishtam ma bhivadet pratita.
Etatrayanam prathamam varam vrine.
Etatrayanam prathamam varam vrine.
Shanta sankalpa sumana yatha syat.
Shanta sankalpa sumana yatha syat.
Vitamanyur gautamo ma bhimrityo.
Vitamanyur gautamo ma bhimrityo.
Tvat prasrishtam ma bhivadet pratita.
Tvat prasrishtam ma bhivadet pratita.
Etatrayanam prathamam varam vrine.
Etatrayanam prathamam varam vrine.
Etatrayanam prathamam varam vrine. Of the 3 boons, this is my first boon. What we will ask first? Is it not the most important thing we should ask first? Because after asking the first, whether the second or third will remain, or in our mind always, the most important we will try to get first, and then only we will go. So see what was working in Nachiketa's mind. He said that his father, although he was Vajasravasa, that is the son of Vajasrava, his name is used as Gautama, also belonging to the Gautama lineage, and in other place it has been used as Uddalaka also. There could be various interpretations, the mother's lineage, father's lineage, or other things also. We are not going into that. So he says that my father Gautama, when I get back, he is addressing Yamaraja as Mrityu. Hey Mrityu, O the Lord of Death, Gautama, my father, yatha shanta sankalpaha sumanaha ma abhi vitamanyuhu syat. The first thing is, my father should become 3 things here. Shanta sankalpaha sumanaha vitamanyuhu. These are the 3 things. Now see, what is it all? It is all about the father's mind that he is asking. Now that means the father was not like that. The first is Shanta Sankalpaha. Sankalpa means when the mind goes on thinking, desireful thinking, either about raga or about dvesha. our normal mind not guided properly by intelligence, always motivated by desire, it is sankalpa vikalpatmakaha manaha, which goes on thinking about the past, what I have done, either great or sinful, it goes on thinking, or it goes to the future, what will happen, this will happen, that will happen, including Swarga Naraka also for the future. The mind is never in the present generally. Even when we are working in the present, something we are doing, the mind is not attentive. It is only because of this loitering in the past and the future. The mind is not on the present. So, Nachiketa is asking that his father should become Shanta Sankalpaha, which he was not. That is why he wanted to do a great yaga. But he did not have the mind to give the proper gifts. Either he did not have mind or the property to give proper. In that case also he should not do such a yaga. We have discussed this. So the father was not a Shanta Sankalpaha, he should become Shanta Sankalpaha. I would like you to compare with whatever we have talked about the Sadhana Chatushtaya as well as Bhagavad Gita. Shama, Dama, etc. Shanta Sankalpaha means actually Shama. That let some Shama be done, let some amount of Shama dawn in my father. हमारे पिताजी शांत संकल्प बने. Sumanaha. Sumanaha means having a good mind. A good mind is always cheerful. We call that when a person becomes spiritual, it is the prasada, the placidity of the mind. Even if it is not a spiritual prasada or a placidity of the mind, a cheerful disposition of the mind, it is always contented. Any spiritual teacher will look for a shishya who has got a cheerful mindset. Why? Because such a mind can easily absorb things, because it is not disturbed, it can easily take to things, it is not unnecessarily. That generally we will find that almost the face is always long, vulture face. That means the mind is always crowded with all kinds of desires or ragadvesha, non-fulfillment of desires, you can say. A contented person will be in a very good state of reception. Receptivity will be very high. So Sumanaha means a very good cheerful mind, what we call prasada. Generally we can call it, the best part of it is prasada, placidity of the mind. Vita Manyuhu, that means for whom the krodha has gone, the anger has gone. Manyuhu means krodha, anger. Vita Manyuhu means the who does not have anger. Now you try to relate also to Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, which I have already told you, that the whole sequence where he discusses that Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bhamshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati. The whole sequence of fall. What is that? By constantly thinking, that means spending mind hours on the objective gain. यहाँ से क्या मिलेगा, वहाँ से कितना मिलेगा, कितना पैसा हमारे पास है और कितना चाहिए, जो सबसे रिच है उनसे कितना हम पीछे हैं, सब कुछ सोचेंगे खाली. सोचते पैसा के प्रति लालच और लगाव और भी बढ़ते जाएगा, सब कुछ बढ़ते जाएगा. So dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate. By constantly meditating or thinking about the ragadvesha, that is whatever is likes and dislikes of the world, we develop clinging. It can be clinging positive or negative. That means raga means positive clinging and hate means negative clinging. That is avoiding. Then this sangha gives rise to kama. The desire comes from there. First, unless we think about something again and again, the desire for that particular gain will not come. As I gave the example of earlier, these cars, only 2 cars was there. Now there are so many companies, so many cars are there. When you see a new one, by seeing, if you see quite a few times, and now they have developed that the first page doesn't have any news at all. It is only a model of car or something else, either a mobile. Now they have changed over to mobile, I find. So, You cannot go without that. So thinking, that makes you think. And these businessmen know very well this shloka I have taught. They don't know the shloka maybe, but they know actually how the shloka works. That you show it repeatedly in the hoarding, in the newspaper, in the TV, in the internet. How many times you will avoid? Internet तो कहीं भी अगर थोड़ा सा माउस चला जाए तो वो सामने अपेयर हो जाएगा. तो दिखा के हमारे उसके प्रति एक लालच उत्पन्न कर देता है. They know very well that this is the way. So then you will develop the kama for that, to have that. Now, when you have the desire and you are not able to fulfill, kamat krodho vijayate. When we are not able to fulfill and not know what to do, how to fulfill it, then we become angry. Suppose हम चाहते हैं कि हमारा बच्चा बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट करे, लेकिन बच्चा फेल करता है, अच्छे से पढ़ाई नहीं करता है. We don't know how to make him good, but our desire is that my son should become very good. So we start beating because we don't know how to make him good. So krodhat bhavati sammoha, samyak moha means extreme delusion. When the krodha comes, then you are extremely deluded. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. When that moha comes, we forget everything. Whatever we are, where I am standing, what is my position in front of very respectable guest, we will start fighting. Maybe husband and wife will start fighting in front of others. In the ashram, the brahmacharis will start fighting amongst each other, between each other, in front of the guest. All these things will happen. Krodhat. When you are not able to control discipline your mind. Krodhat bhavati sammohat smriti vibhramaha. That we are lost about our memory. We don't have the sense of what is the circumstances. Smriti bhamshat buddhi nashaha. That takes away the whole of the intelligence. I have shown so many things, the chariot example and all, how we should be guided, niyata, guided by the viveka buddhi. All the buddhi will go, not only viveka buddhi, normal buddhi also will go. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. This is the ultimate destruction of a person. This is what happened to Nachiketa's father. His desire was to get to the heaven. And when the son points out that father, you will not go to the heaven, the Shastras say that if you give such material, you will go to the hell. So I am correcting you, not the Nachiketa was a very good boy, so he was not speaking arrogantly, he was speaking in a very humble manner, that to whom, oh father, to whom will you gift me? Father knew that I am doing the wrong thing, but could not do anything. He is doing out of greed for the swarga, but he is not doing the dana properly, so he knows that the effect will be bad. So he got angry. Now this krodha led to smriti bhramsha, that this is my son also was forgotten. 3 times when Nachiketa asked, he cursed him to death, that mrittavetam tva dadamiti. I will give you to death. Anybody will say that his son, and such a good son, anybody will offer to death? He said, Mrityave tva dadamiti. Yesterday we read, I will give you to death. So is it not the complete destruction of a person? This is the smriti bhramshaha, that he lost this is my son, this is my good son. He cannot be cursed like that. Everything was forgotten. So this is the state. You see how all the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, you can relate any amount of this. You can go to various examples. That will give you a wholesome idea about the truth. Because if it is read and you understand the meaning, it will not work. To make the scripture a sadhana, you have to relate it with your life, relate it with the various other things you have read, take the examples. That is why they have given the illustrations. So each word in the illustration we have to go into and then relate to us. Then it will become a real sadhana. It will transform us. So Shanta Sankalpaha, Sumanaha and Vitamanyuhu. These 3 he wanted. Now just after these 2 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in the 2.63 I think. 6.2, 6.3 are these, then 6.4. 2.64. Bhagavad Gita speaks about just the opposite side, like Nachiketa. He says, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indreshcharan atmavashir vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. This to explain prasada, I said. The one who moves around in the world in the same worldly objects, he is not having a different world. Even if you go to an ashram, it is the same world. With all the same, you have to eat, you have to go to the market, you have to buy, you have to cook, everything is same. But he has to move in that world freed of raga and dvesha. Not for any personal gain or avoiding any personal loss or anything. That personal carrot, that carrot of happiness at the end, that should not be there, as I have explained earlier. So, ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyashcharan. He is interacting with the world with his sense organs only. Atmavashit. The difference is, he is under the discipline of his Atma, the real identity. That means he is controlled by his Viveka Buddhi. If I say Atmavashya, you will not understand. How does it become practical? When we are under the discipline or control of the Atma, means it is I am operating with the Viveka Buddhi, as we have already. Viveka means the first of the Sadhana Chatushtaya. So he is guided by the Viveka Buddhi, Atmavashya. Vidheya Atma. That means the whole his being is integrated by that. As I have said in the chariot model, that the Viveka Buddhi is controlling the Buddhi is controlled by the Atma. That means Viveka Buddhi. Then the Buddhi is controlling the mind. The mind is controlling the senses. Videya Atma, that gives a discipline which is not external control or suppression, but an internal discipline which integrates the whole being. Prasadam adhigacchati. What is the effect? He attains prasada. His mind remains always in prasada because of the integrated being. Our inside always there is friction going on. There is always war going on with the intelligence, mind and the senses. So our face is not cheerful because of the war going on inside. When the inside get completely integrated, we attain prasada. So this is what Sumanaha means, that prasada, that a good mindset he is expecting for his father. We should try to imagine the mindset of Nachiketa. Just try how this boy, you think of a 8-year-old boy, बच्चा है, 8 साल का बच्चा है. पिताजी ने कहा कि तुम्हें हम मृत्यु को दे देते हैं, मतलब बेटा मर जा. Even then, उनके मन में पिताजी के प्रति कोई असद्भाव नहीं उठा. असद्भाव समझते हैं ना, सद्भाव ही रहा. वो गुस्से में भी नहीं आए. He normally what will you do when father says, oh you can curse me, अच्छा ठीक है हम देख लेंगे, चले जाओ, यही तो करेंगे ना. वो सोच रहा है कि फादर क्यों बोल रहे हैं ऐसा, हम तो बहुत अच्छा है. आई एम उत्तमा इन वेरियस प्लेसेस, आई एम मध्यमा, आई एम नेवर अधमा. Why the father has said like this? But since he has uttered, if we don't follow, if I don't go to death, then father's word will be proven wrong and he will again have sinfulness in it. Let me better go. So all these things, how he was thinking, why should we be scared of death at all? People are getting born, people are dying. That is what the ancient rishis also said, that there is no such great anything unacceptable in death at all. Suppose अगर कोई नहीं मरते तो हमारी स्थिति क्या होती थी? If suppose nobody dies, will you be able to live? People have to die to make space for you to live. So death is part of the birth and death, part of the creation. Always galaxies are getting born and galaxies are dying also. They are getting into the black hole and some other places the new things are getting born. In the whole universe also that is what is happening. In human civilization also that is what is happening. Even as a civilization, some civilizations are getting perished, some civilizations are getting born. Everywhere birth and death in creation. Without that, creation cannot be there. That is the causality. The cause dies, the effect gets born. So, Such a small boy, he is thinking like that, and then going to the Yamaraja's place. There also he is just sitting, waiting for Yamaraja, not being affected by not having food, drink, etc. What kind of a mindset? If you can imagine, you will find that it is called the prasada, such a contented, such a desire-free. This is what is meant by a desire-free mindset. Whatever to be done, he is doing. There is no ego, no desire at all. When the father was angry with him, why he is behaving like that? It is the freedom from ego. Because of our ego, we are fighting back. Somebody abusing. Again, immediately we are fighting back. That is because of the ego. If the ego is sublimated, then we will hear what he is saying. If he is saying something true, I should thank him. If he is saying something wrong, it is his business. Why should I bother about it? This should be the behavior. If you go on just thinking about Nachiketa more we are going to read also, that itself will liberate you. You see, this is how the sadhana works. Think of the mindset of Nachiketa. That itself will liberate you. You don't have to read further of the Upanishads. So, he says that Shanta Sankalpaha Sumana Yatha Syad Vitamanyur Gautamo Mabhimrityo Tvat Prasishtam Mabhibadet Pratita Etatrayanam Prathamam Varam Vrine. This is my first boon. What is the third line? That when I get back from you, when I go back from you, then make sure that my father receives me as his son and behaves with me in the proper manner. Because nobody comes back from Mrityu. When Nachiketa gets back, father may get scared also. The bhoot, uska ghost aa gaya kya? He will not accept him also. So, and in his statement, the way he states, it appears that he has already, he knows that Yamaraja is going to send him back. He is not going to die. That death is under Yamaraja's control. And when I have come to Yamaraja, and he is so happy with me that he is giving me 3 boons, so why should I fear death at all? Yamaraja must be, after our conversations are over, he will send me back. So he is assuming that when I go back, I should be accepted as my dear Nachiketa has come back. Yes, it is not Nachiketa's ghost. It is not anything like that. This is my first boon. Then comes the second boon. I will again come back here because I have something more to say. 11th verse. Yatha purastad bhavita pratita.
यथा पुरस्ताद् भविता प्रतीता
औद्दालकिरारुणिर्मत्प्रसृष्टः
औद्दालकिरारुणिर्मत्प्रसृष्टः
सुखं रात्रिः शयिता वीतमन्युः
सुखं रात्रिः शयिता वीतमन्युः
त्वां ददृशिवान् मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुक्तम्
त्वां ददृशिवान् मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुक्तम्.
Yamaraja was very happy that this boy has asked for a very simple boon, and immediately he sanctioned without any problem. It's a very simple boon. What is great there? His father's character has to be changed, mind has to be changed. So, Yatha purastad bhavita pratita. This is the statement of Yamaraja. This shloka is the previous one was Nachiketa's statement. This is Yamaraja's statement. Yatha purastad bhavita pratita Auddalakir Arunir Mat Prasishtaha. See, the father's name has been used in 2 senses, the Auddalakihi and Arunihi. That means from 2 vamshas, maybe the mother's side and father's side, 2 gotras. Mat Prasishtaha means sent back by me. So immediately he says that when I send you back, by seeing you, sent back from me, your father, Auddalaki and Aruni, that means Uddalaka and Arunaputra, he will be accepting you as earlier, as your son. Sukham Ratri Shayita Vitamanyuhu. Not only that, being freed of anger, he will sleep very well in the night. Sukham Ratrihi Shayita Vitamanyuhu. Vitamanyuhu Bhutva Sukham Ratrihi Shayita. your father will sleep well. That means his father must have, after cursing the son to death, and the son has gone to Yamaraja's palace. Naturally, the father had been very worried and anxious, and what did I do? Very feeling sinful and repentant in his mind. He was all the more agitated. So nothing that like that will happen. Your father will be peaceful. Tvam dadrishivan mrityu mukhat pramuktam. Seeing you coming back from the jaws of death, your father will be very happy and accepting you. So the first boon was granted. Then Nachiketa is planning for his second boon. 12th. Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti.
Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti.
Na tatratvam na jaraya vibheti.
Na tatratvam na jaraya bibheti.
Ubhetirtva ashanaya pipase.
Ubhetirtva ashanaya pipase.
Shokatigo modate swargaloke.
Shokatigo modate swargaloke.
So he is describing a swargaloka. That means he is going to ask something related to the heaven. That is something related to the other world. Now the later verses of Nachiketa's behavior will show that he was never interested in anything from the Swarga at all. Because Yamaraja started bringing chariots and danceuses and musicians from the heavens and telling him repeatedly that these kinds are not available on the earth at all. It is only available in the Swarga, and giving him a long life. All these things, everything Nachiketa rejected finally. Which shows that although here it is appearing that he is planning a Swarga and he will ask for the second boon about that. But truly, he was not interested in having any such Swargaloka or anything. I will explain further. Here he says, Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti. In the Swargaloka there is no fear. Why? Na tatratvam na jaraya bibheti. Because in the Swargaloka it is a steady state. There is no, age will never increase. Age will be stagnant. You will always remain young. So no jara coming in. So there won't be any fear for jara. And natatratvam means, oh Yamaraja, you will also not be there in Swargaloka. So there is no death. When the Swarga time span is over, he will come back to the earth. But Swarga's death, we will not call it a death. You rejoice in Swarga and come back to the earth. That is the concept. Ubhe tirtva ashanaya pipase. That ashanaya pipase means thirst, pipasa means thirst, and ashanaya means hunger. That crossing over, transcending hunger and thirst, shoka atigo modate swargaloke. In the Swargaloka, everybody is cheerful and they are all merrymaking there without having any thirst or hunger and without having any grief, without having any fear of death or fear of jara. This is the creation of the Swargaloka. Now, this is a part of our karma kanda, that Swargaloka, that all the karma and leading to that. We have to understand it very clearly. We should not simply poo-poo it or just decry it. One thing we should understand, when you analyze, it is delusion. Because he said that because there is no hunger, there is no thirst, it is very joyful. It is not. Because in our life, if you consider, the food and drink are the most, we relish food and drink most. So if you don't have hunger and don't have thirst, will there be any joy from food and drink? If your stomach is full and more food is given, will you enjoy it? Similarly, when you are not thirsty, no, और पियो बोलने से कुछ होगा क्या? तो वो गलत चिंता है. गलत चिंता means they are creating a moha, a delusion around us. That means whatever we are not able to have here, we are creating a Swargaloka with our imagination with that, where all the difficulties here we are facing will not be there. And there the bhoga will be at its supreme. That is, whatever bhoga we are having here, we can imagine still further bhoga, whatever is the hindrance to the bhoga, they have to be eliminated. So, a Svargaloka where there only bhoga is supreme, such heavens are conceived of. Now, why the Vedas are presenting this? One thing is true, as I said the other day, neither you can prove nor you can disprove. That is, Svargadau anubhava anarudhe shranka syat asti va nava iti anubhava arudham tu jnana phalam. Yesterday I said that for a seeker of truth, they should ignore all these concepts of Svarga, Naraka and everything. Because they can never be anubhava arudha. We cannot be, nobody has experienced them. It is all something after the body falls. Neither you can prove that there is a Svarga, nor you can disprove also. There might be, how do you know? Now, why these are put? There are various reasons. One is that to bridle the society on an auspicious path. Those days also, what will people do? People by nature, they have the kama, they have the desires, they have greed, all these things will be there. In spite of that, how to bridle them and keep them on an auspicious path? So, suppose you create a desireful imaginary world which will compensate. If you think of that more and more, you will not be so much given to the running after the desires here. They are creating much more. Suppose you don't have enough money to buy a very good car or a diamond studded chariot or so. So what will you do? Normally, if the kama becomes too strong, then you will take to unfair means. You will try to get it through theft or any thieving or anything. Wrong means will be taken. Here he is saying that, well, here it is, you are not getting, fine, but you do this yaga or that yaga or this or that, so that in the next life, when the body falls, you will go to such a loka where not only this car also much better than that, 100 times superior, and not only that, you will be assisted with so many dance users, musicians and all. So you are attracted by that and you are going to do that yaga. Now the yagas are designed in a manner that they will only do good for you. That is, all the prescriptions of the yaga, whatever to be done, it is only good for the society and good for the individual. And it needs lot of attention, lot of sacrifice, lot of various kinds of austerities will be involved. So your being will automatically be disciplined through a yaga. Normally we are not disciplined. We don't get up in the proper time, we don't practice our normal shuchitva routines and all. Here, being desirous of a heaven, we will do all those things. And everything will discipline us. Not only that, the yaga is always ending with a great dana. So which will take away all the conjuicy from you, all the miserliness from you, which will make your mind expanded. अपने दिल को बड़ा बनाएगा. Whatever danas are there. Not only that, the other day during Bhagavad Gita lectures I have explained that this dana is not only for individual purpose, it has a great social purpose, the distribution of wealth. So the whole concept of yaga and various rituals, etc., they are based on a social awareness also, that there should not be any hoarding of wealth any time, be it a king or be it some other rich person or whatever. If you collect money and keep it hoarded, our Bhagavatam or any Shastras do not approve of it. These are all perversions. Although it is in the temple, it is perversion. Bhagavatam does not allow. They have said it is anybody does, he is a taskara, means he is a thief. Why? Because money, if you keep hoarded, then money will lose its power. The country will not grow in wealth. The money is a dynamic force. The wealth grows when the money flows, and the wealth grows out of the work of the people. The money will make people work, contribute to the wealth of the country, and that is how the wealth will grow. If you keep the money hoarded, then that effect will not be there. It will not have the dynamic power which the money is meant to do. So everywhere this whole complete civilizational thought, awareness, that was there. For individual benefit, what is that? By dana, the mind will become expanded. And I have told you yesterday that Shraddhaya deyam, Ashraddhaya adeyam, Shriya deyam, Hriya deyam, Sambhida deyam. All these things are taught because of that, that when you are giving, how you should give. By giving, what will happen? To whom you are giving, that is not so important. By following these instructions, if you give, then your mind will become peaceful, large, expanded. You will be fit for jnana sadhana also. Otherwise also you will become peaceful, contented. If you understand, actually this knowledge will not be understood, the truth, knowledge of the truth will not be understood by 99.9999999% of the people. It is so subtle and lofty. You can see how many people are there in Jamshedpur. Of them, what percentage is even coming to listen to the truth also? They don't feel like coming. Those who listen also, how much we are able to understand of that? Many people will not be able to understand, or a little of them. But when the truth is presented in its full, pristine form, it's extremely rare and difficult. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam, ascharyavat vadati chathaiva chanyaha. It says that it is extremely rare to listen to the truth. See, in Delhi also we have a problem, people do not come for lectures. So, some people come and they say that, स्वामी जी ये तो PhD लेवल का आप बोल रहे हैं, इससे काम नहीं होगा. आप भगवती जागरण कीजिए, हम हजारों लोगों को ले आएंगे, CIRT भर जाएगा. CIRT मतलब वो ग्राउंड में पंडल लगा देंगे, सब कुछ भर जाएगा. आप क्यों नहीं करते हैं? न भगवती जागरण हमारे लिए नहीं है, हम क्या करेंगे? भगवती जागरण इज भजन एंड ऑल, सम हल्ला गुल्ला भजन. सो the question is that as you go to, suppose how many people are studying in the primary school, of them how many are going to high school, how many are going to the college, how many are going for post graduation, how many are going for PhD? Is it not decreasing slowly? Anything deeper, subtle, there won't be many people to receive. So naturally the truth in its final form, even for the scientists it is not easily graspable. If you read the conversation between Einstein and Rabindranath, you will find that each is not, whether Rabindranath understood what Einstein said, I do not know, but Einstein did not understand what Rabindranath said, that I know. And the commentator who has written it, one person from Germany or so, he has written that I feel that nobody is understanding each other. The two are not understanding each other. Rabindranath was not saying many things. He was only saying that even if the concept of truth or so, whatever you are saying, God you call it, Brahman you call it, it is also a concept of the mind of the human being. And what we are calling the truth, you have to transcend the concept. Any concept of the mind, I am seeing the concept. So it is an object before me. Whatever God you have, it's a concept of God. So are you not knowing that concept? That I, the consciousness, is revealing that concept of the God or concept of Brahman also. That is why we say in Advaita, we said Advaita is also not the final truth. Advaita philosophy, we need to deal with the Dvaita because we are born with Dvaita. Dvaita means duality and multiplicity. We are born with that, and right from the birth we are dealing with the multiplicity. So the mind is always fragmented. We have got completely pervaded with this fragmentation. So how to integrate that mind? So this, to treat the Dvaita, we are incorporating Advaita philosophy. When Advaita treats Dvaita, then both are to be thrown off. You have to go beyond, which is inexpressible, because it cannot be a concept of the mind. It is only expressed as neti neti. That is, whatever concept you give, no, not that, not that, not that. Yan neti neti vachanairi nigama vochuhu. The Upanishads have spoken of the truth only by neti neti. Means whatever you say, oh, is it this then? Is it Satchidananda? No, not Satchidananda also. Satchidananda, if you say, then it is also a concept. It's the nearest concept, so we say. Otherwise, no, it is not that. Anything you say, if it is described by iti means this is it. This is it means it is a concept before me. That consciousness is revealing that concept. So that concept is an object for the consciousness. That consciousness which reveals is the truth, not the revealed object. Am I clear, or it's too tough? So this is what Rabindranath wanted to tell Einstein, who had overcome all the traditional rigidity of those days theories. Even relativity, nobody can understand. During his time, Eddington made a remark that only 3 persons in the world can understand relativity. One is he himself, Eddington, one is another person, and Einstein. These were the 3 people, he said, that would understand this relativistic dynamics. So, such a scientist also, it becomes difficult because they have not undergone the sadhana of purification and not looking for anything objective. The main sadhana is our tendency to always see something before me as object. So when we want to see the truth also, the self, we want to see it as this is self. It is not possible because the self is the revealer of all these things. So when we leave everything, the whole world is forgotten, including our own body, mind, personality, then whatever remains, that is the truth, that is the consciousness. The moment some object comes, it is revealing that object and our focus is on that. Object means it could be gross, it could be thought, it could be emotion, anything, thought, concept, it is whatever is revealed. So, my point was here that the truth cannot be understood by most of the people, but how to keep the society bridle on the moral path, that was the concern of our people. And the moral codes, the Vedas, the dharma, everything is conceived of on that basis. You will find generally the heaven-hell concept, punarjanma concept, and karma theory. These 3 together will create the dharmic rules, because they 3 together they form the foundation. This causality, that karma means causality actually. We say my karma. Actually karma means causality only, nothing else. But the causality we see in the world is gross causality. Suppose I push the table, it will move. If I don't push, it will not move. This we can prove and see. This is a gross causality. But there are various subtle causalities operating in the universe. Suppose in the mind, there are various causalities that you have behaved with somebody in a certain manner. The mind will have a certain reaction to that, which we are not careful about, which we are not aware about. That will go on creating its result in our own mind. And that will have its effect. So that is also included in karma, but people will not understand that subtle part of it. So they are given something that you will be taken to the hell, you will be taken to the heaven, and this will happen, that will happen. So some stories, some formations are given there, so that we are guided on the moral path. And it is true also that there will be subtle effect. Suppose even about this yaga jajna, they will say that jajna is performed and jajna is over. Now they are saying the result will be when the body falls, that there is a time lag between the jajna completion and the result coming. It is not accepted by causality. Causality means whatever the jajna has been done, if there is a result, when the cause is over, the effect should come immediately. When the cause has already vanished, how can the effect come after that? You get my point? All these arguments are there. We don't read. Everything is there. So what they say is that, well, the outside causality, the jajna was performed materially, you have put the paddy and whatever in the Agni, and it has become vapor and ash and all. These are all outer causality, and so many people came, they participated, they took food, they were given this. These are all outer causality which has taken place. But the jajna phala is for the yajamana. Suppose I have done the jajna, the result is meant for me in the other world. What they are saying is that that result is an internal phala, is a subtle phala. It will remain in the mind, because it is I who am thinking that I have done this jajna and because of that I will go to the Swarga. You get it how subtly it works. I have done the jajna, so I will get the result That is true of everything. Suppose you have quite a lot of money in the share market. Suddenly you get the news that it has fallen and you have lost all your money. Immediately you are absolutely gone. Some will have heart attack, some will commit suicide. So many people committed suicide when the market fell. All these things will happen. But suppose the information is wrong, it was a wrong information given to you, then that means whether the money is there or not, it does not matter. It is your mind which is thinking, I have this much of money, and it is your mind which is thinking, I have lost my money also. Maybe you have not lost. You get my point? How subtly it is working. It is all to do with that richness, whether you have a palace, you have 20 cars or buildings, it is all existing in your mind. Outside they are existing, but suppose you become brain damaged and you cannot think of all these things, they don't exist for you at all. It is all in the mind. So this is the subtle truth they have caught hold of. And saying that this Svarga Phala will be there in the cosmic mind, in your mind, in the subtle, that is called Sukshma Deha. It's not in the Sthula. And it will have its result. It may be that just before death you will think that I am going to die, so I have gone to this Svarga and all. All those Svargas are coming before death itself. In your mind, you are following them. And the time in the Svarga and here, they are different. Even in Swapna, in dream, so many years can pass in dream in just 1 hour. Is it not? So the time scale is different. So just, you may think that 5 minutes, within 5 minutes he died. But in that 5 minutes he has crossed so many Svargas and Brahmalokas and all. Who will say? They will sometimes say, if they come back to life, they will say that I went there and I went there. Actually, he did not go. It is his mind which is creating all those things. These are all results. So, this conceiving the Svarga as a result of the Yajna, it has got multiple purposes to keep the society on the auspicious track and keep the individual also on the auspicious track, on the moral track. So they are not just useless things that in Arab, Israel, etc., where they are deserted countries, full of deserts, their Svarga is such, their water is flowing everywhere. See, they are suffering from lack of water. So their Svarga description is, everywhere it is full of water. According to that, it has been conceived. And it is there in most of the dharma, most of the religions and most of the countries, whether it is religion or not. When we take to spirituality, we have to overcome all that. We have to stick to the Anubhava Arudha. Anubhava Anarudha means which cannot be experienced. So those are all rejected. And we have to stick to whatever is Anubhava Arudha, which can be experienced. And knowledge, the effect of knowledge is always experiential. And we have to test our knowledge by the experiential result of it. So this is the Svarga Loka Nachiketa is thinking. Svarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti.
Svarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti.
Na tatratvam na jaraya vibheti.
Na tatratvam na jaraya bibheti.
Ubhetirtva shanaya pipase.
Ubhetirtva ashanaya pipase.
Shokatigo modate svargaloke.
Shokatigo modate svargaloke.
Sattvamagnim svargyamadhye shimrityo.
Sattvamagnim svargyamadhye shimrityo.
Sattvamagnim svargyamadhye shimrityo.
Sattvamagnim svargyamadhye shimrityo.
Prabruhitvam.
Prabruhitvam.
Shraddadhanaya mahyam.
Shraddadhanaya mahyam.
Prabruhitvam shraddadhanaya mahyam.
Prabruhitvam shraddadhanaya mahyam.
Svargaloka amritatvam bhajante.
स्वर्गलोका अमृतत्वं भजन्ते.
Here it is bhajanta written, actually it is bhajante. There is nothing wrong because it is followed by a, that ekara has dropped there. It is a rule of grammar. But while, because I am cutting the chanting there, I am using bhajante. Swargaloka amritatvam bhajante.
स्वर्गलोका अमृतत्वं भजन्ते.
एतद्वितीयेन वृणेवरेण.
एतद्वितीयेन वृणेवरेण.
So, etadvitiyena vrinevarena. This is my second boon. He says, Sa tvam agnim tvam sa agnim swargyam agnim adhyeshi. He mrityo, O Yamaraja. He mrityo means, O Yamaraja. Swatam satvam swargyam agnim adhyeshi. Swargyam means that by which the swarga is attained. Swargyam is there, you see. It is not swargam. Swargyam. By which the Agni Vidya, Agnim means the Agni Vidya, a fire sacrifice, by which the swarga can be attained. Swargyam Agnim Adhyeshi. You know, O Mrityu, O the Lord of Death, you know that Vidya, Agni Vidya, by which this swarga can be attained. Prabruhi tvam shraddadhanaya mahyam. Prabruhi, prakishta rupena bruhi. Bruhi means aap boliye, mujhe boliye. Bruhi. Prabruhi means prakashena bruhi or prakishta rupena bruhi. That means you tell me very well with all the details, everything, you should not hide anything. Shraddadhanaya mahyam. You tell me about this Agni Vidya to me. Mahyam is Chaturthi. That means to me you give it. Now, why should you give it? Because I am a Shraddadhana. I have Shraddha. See, he himself is saying that started with Shraddha, Avivesha. Nachiketa says that I have Shraddha. Whatever you give me, I will learn with great attention, with application. I am not a person who will take it casually or with insincerity. I am sincere. When I am asking, see, whenever we are asking from any knowledge from the teacher, this is the condition, that unless the inquirer is serious about it, and unless he is ready to practice it, follow it, why should the teacher say? Tell him. So he is saying that why should you tell me? Prabruhi, he said, you tell me very well. Yes, you can tell me very well, because I know that I am Shraddadhana, I have Shraddha. I will learn it very well. So this is the Swargaloka Amritatvam Bhajante. That there in the Swargaloka, they are all immortal. Immortal means it's a relative immortality. They are not talking about the ultimate immortality. So you please tell me about this Agni Vidya. So Yamaraja replies, this boon also, the second boon also, is not very difficult, because he is asking for some Agni Vidya, which is a ritualistic part of the Vedas. So Yamaraja is ready to give it. Now here you should see how Nachiketa's mind is progressing. The first one was about his father, about the concern about family. The second one, as I said, later on you will know that he was not at all interested to gain anything from the Swarga. But he asked the Agni Vidya from which can attain Swarga. So it is because of two purposes. One is to make it available to the earth, that this is the way this Swarga can be attained. Thinking of the people, that a proper Agni Vidya which can be taught to the people. It is a societal awareness. The second point is that although he is about to go for knowledge, he will ask the next question, and thereafter they are very exceptional questions. Before going to that, he shows his allegiance to the Karmakanda of the Vedas. We have to progress from Karmakanda to Jnanakanda by attaining the qualities, the fourfold qualities. That is fine. But we should not hate the Karmakanda or try to demolish it, saying that it is useless, because it is useful for most of the people. You should not decry it. That is the point. So, in the Upanishad they have given this, and Nachiketa they are showing that who was only for knowledge, who had enough of sadhana chatushtaya to go for the knowledge, he is also asking for the Agni Vidya to show his respect towards the karma kanda of the Vedas. So it is very important how one should proceed, that this is the lineage that one should go by step manner in this way. And here it is out of the societal awareness that although he did not have any requirement for Agni Vidya, he felt it is required for the Vedas, karma kanda of the Vedas are required for most of the people, not the others at those days, because there was no other activities much except cultivation and all. Now nobody is going to do the Jaga Jajna, but the same principles can be added to whatever we are doing. There also, if you do attentively very well, you will be taken to a higher and higher level of promotion, to a better factory, to a better company, you will get a very good job. It is all happening because of your attention to the work you are doing. The same principle will be held there also, will be applied. See, because Swamiji had been propagating this knowledge and all, many people in Kerala have the idea that Swamiji is against temples. Many people express that also. We have to tell them that if he is against temple, then why is he building temple completely ignoring his health and all? The temple on the hilltop there, it took about 2 to 3 years of hard work. He was working with the laborers. We were also helping him. So why should he build temple? That temple had fallen, an ancient temple had fallen, and he rebuilt not only the temple, rebuilt the hill and the temple. Not only that, there are 5 temples under our management. So, and he is going from temple to inspire people to go to the temple. Various places he has to go and lecture and inspire people that for the renovation of the temple, to give respect and honoring the temple and spending for it. All these things he is doing. People think that whenever we are speaking about knowledge, that means that is when you have gone to PhD, are you going to remove all the schools, the primary schools and secondary schools? Suppose somebody has gone to the college level, does it mean that he will demolish all the schools, that schools are not necessary? It is exactly like that. Nobody will decry the karma kanda also, because there are various things to be learned. Maybe we are not doing the Yaga Jajna, but all the principles, otherwise the behavioral principles said that they all have meaning. We have to get to that essence of it and understand that. You cannot decry them. But the trouble comes when you say that this is all and there is nothing beyond, which Jaimini and others said, that the Jnana Kanda, they said that it is only eulogy. Eulogy means Arthavada. It has no value. It is just like that, this knowledge of the soul and all, it is only spoken of as eulogy. It never happens. That was the Karma Kanda's theory. That is, they were having full faith in the Karma Kanda and they wanted to establish the superiority of it. In that process, they have decried the superior things. So there comes the fault, not in following the Karma Kanda. You have to accept the Karma Kanda, but you should not get stagnant there. Just like as all of us are doing puja, but we are not getting promoted to the inquiry. We refuse to get promoted. Will in the school always we will like to remain in the primary class? That when you are asked to get to that college level, you will say, no, I will remain in class 7 only. I don't want to get to class 8. It is exactly like that. Puja you have done. If you have done properly, rituals you have done properly, its purpose is done. Then you should understand what am I doing, whether I am advancing, whether God is coming towards me or I am going towards God, and how I can know. All those things have to be started. The inquiry has to start. But if you refuse to promote to that this is only what we will do, there lies the problem. Then Yamaraja immediately sanctions that boon also. 14th verse. Prate brabhimi tadume nibodha.
Prate brabhimi tadume nibodha. निबोध
स्वर्ग्यमग्निं नचिकेतः प्रजानन्
स्वर्ग्यमग्निं नचिकेतः प्रजानन्
अनन्तलोकाप्तिमथो प्रतिष्ठाम्
अनन्तलोकाप्तिमथो प्रतिष्ठां
विद्धि त्वमेतं निहितं गुहायाम्
विद्धि त्वमेतं निहितं गुहायाम्.
He says, pra te brabhimi. That means te prabrabhimi. Yes, I will tell you very well. Prabrabhimi means prakishta rupena brabhimi. I will tell you very well. Tadu me nibodha. Nisheshena bodha. That means when I tell you very well, you have to understand also very well. So not only bodha, nibodha. Tadu me nibodha. Swargyam agnim nachiketa prajanan. I know the Agni Vidya and I will tell you, O Nachiketa, this Swargyam Agnim, that is the Agni Vidya which can attain the Swarga. Ananta Lokaptimatho Pratishtham. It can attain the great world and it is the support of everything also. Viddhitvametam nihitam guhayam. This last line can be interpreted in two ways. That know that this Agni is in reality right within your heart. See, he is giving an indication to progress him towards knowledge. Another meaning is that Nihitam Guhayam means it is a very rare knowledge which is hidden. So you will not be able to get it from anywhere, I will give it. It's a hidden knowledge, it's a great secret. Both way we can understand. Later on he will say that you have to know it as your own self. That he will say. Lokadimagnim tamuvacha tasmai
लोकादिमग्निं तमुवाच तस्मै
या इष्टका यावतीर्वा यथा वा
या इष्टका यावतीर्वा यथा वा
स चापि तत्प्रत्यवदद्यथोक्तम्
स चापि तत्प्रत्यवदत्
स चापि तत्प्रत्यवदद्यथोक्तम्
स चापि तत्प्रत्यवदद्यथोक्तम्
अथास्य मृत्युः पुनरेवाह तुष्टः.
अथास्य मृत्युः पुनरेवाह तुष्टः.
See this ma yathoktam and athasya, because it is together, so they have taken it to the next with giving an hyphen. Actually it is yathoktam athasya. Sandhi okay, yathoktam athasya. Lokadim agnim tamuvacha tasmai ya ishtika yavatirva yathava. This is the Upanishad is saying that Yamaraja told him this Agni Vidya with all the details, how many ita, how many bricks will be necessary, how are they to be placed, how the offering has to be done in it, all the details. It will all be there in the corresponding Veda where the Upanishad appears. The details are given there of the Agni Vidya. Yavatirva yathava, how offering has to be given, how the fire is to be lit, everything he told. Then, sa cha api tat pratyavadad yathoktam. Whatever Yamaraja said about the Agni Vidya, Nachiketa immediately repeated the whole thing. This is his Shraddhadhanaya Madhyam. He said that Prabruhitvam Shraddhadhanaya Mahyam, that I am having Shraddha, you can tell me. What kind of Shraddha? Immediately all the details and everything, whatever Yamaraja told, he repeated. He took by heart by listening. He was a Shrutidhara. You know Shrutidhara, those who once they hear, they will be able to retain in the memory. Those days it was all possible because of their purity of the life, purity of their practices, purity of food. In some places where these Vedic studies are done, if a person is not able to understand well or remember well, they are given a Ghritapana treatment. Every day morning you have to drink 1 glass of ghee. Very good ghee, organic. Organic means the cows have to be Deshi cows, they have to eat the grass only, not any other fodder from outside. Such prepared pure ghees are available and you will be asked to drink 1 glass of maybe of this size or so. 1 glass of ghee every morning. Then what happens, it works in our brain cells and all, and the mind becomes very percolating fluid. So you are able to understand things better, you are able to remember also better. These are treatments practiced. Even Ayurveda also it is there. Ayurveda Gritapana goes on for 7 days. You will start having loose motion. But before, so that you don't have loose motion, before that they give you, what is you call that, purgative, to clear off everything. So he immediately recited everything the Yamaraja told. Athasya mrityuhu punarevaha tushtaha. Naturally, Yamaraja became very satisfied. So he started giving him extra boon. The 3 boons he will give, but some extra boon in between, because such a brilliant boy Nachiketa he has got. That is always so. The moment a teacher finds the student to be excellent, he will start giving everything, so much so that the student may have loose motion. It can happen. Tamabravit priyamano mahatma.
Tamabravit priyamano mahatma.
Varam tavehadya dadami bhuyaha.
Varam tavehadya dadami bhuyaha.
Tavaiva namna bhavitayam agnihi.
Tavaiva namna bhavitayam agnihi.
Srinkam chemam aneka rupam grihana.
Srinkam chemam aneka rupam grihana.
Tamabravit priyamano mahatma.
Tamabravit priyamano mahatma.
Varam tavehadya dadami bhuyaha.
Varam tavehadya dadami bhuyaha.
Tavaiva namna bhavitayam agnihi.
Tavaiva namna bhavitayam agnihi.
Srinkam chemam aneka rupam grihana.
Srinkam chemam aneka rupam grihana.
So he says the Mahatma Yamaraja, being pleased with Nachiketa, he told that I am giving you again an extra boon. Varam tavehadya dadami bhuyaha. Again, tavaiva namna bhavitayam agni. You have mastered this Agni Vidya so well that I am giving you the blessings that in the earth, on the earth, this Agni Vidya will be known by your name. That is, you have mastered it so well that this will be, from henceforth, it will be known by your name. That is why now this Agni Vidya is called actually Nachiketa Agni. It is named by the name of Nachiketa. Not only that, this is one. Another, this mala, Srinkam Aneka Rupam Grihana. I give you a mala, a garland with various kinds of costly pearls which people of the earth have not seen, which is from the heaven. It has another meaning also. Aneka Rupa means it has got magical power. It has special vibhuti, magical power in it. So you accept this mala with which you can do many things. Now later on again you will find Nachiketa had actually rejected the mala. Here he is not saying. Later on Yamaraja will tell Nachiketa, oh Nachiketa, even that powerful mala, that also you have not accepted, you had rejected. Later on it will come. So he wanted to give that mala also. 17th. Trinachiketasthribiretya sandhim.
Trinachiketasthribiretya sandhim.
Trikarma krittarati janma mrityu.
Trikarma krittarati janma mrityu.
Brahmayajñam devamīdyam viditva.
Brahmayajñam devamīdyam viditva.
Nichāye mam shantimatyantameti.
Nichāye mam shantimatyantameti.
This is Yamaraja's statement. Trinachiketasthribiretya sandhim.
Trinachiketasthribiretya sandhim.
Trikarma krittarati janma mrityu.
Trikarma krittarati janma mrityu.
Brahmayajñam devamīdyam viditva.
Brahmayajñam devamīdyam viditva. विदित्वा
निचाये मां शान्तिमत्यन्तमेति.
निचाये मां शान्तिमत्यन्तमेति.
See, Trinachiketaha. Generally, this Nachiketa Yajna, the Agnividya, this has to be performed 3 times. So, those who have performed 3 times, they are called Trinachiketaha. Or the other meaning is that the 3 times means first learning it well, then mastering it, listening to it, mastering it, and then performing it. Both way it can be interpreted. But generally, it is used as one who has performed 3 times like that. Tribhihi sandhim etya. These are symbolic language very often used in the Upanishad. In Shvetashvatara, extreme difficult symbols are used. In Chandogya also. Tribhihi etya sandhim means a person who has undergone a close association and learning from the 3. That is up to the Upanayana from the mother, then after Upanayana from the father, and then from the teacher. All these 3 has to be a very close association, not with lot of distance and all. Then only the knowledge will become proper. Tribhihi sandhimetya. All these 3, that is mother's learning also should be proper, which starts from the Stanyapana onwards. From the mother he learns everything. Then Upanayana, actually the mantra is given by the father. And thereafter he will learn from father the initial discipline of the various rituals and all. That is under the father. Then when he grows a little, then he is sent to the teacher. That generally between 12 and 18 they will be in the Gurukula. That it can be from an earlier age also. From 8 also it can start, it depends. So in the teachers, in the Gurukula also, it has to be a very close association with the Guru and a proper learning. So a person who has learned like this, Tribhihi Sandhim Etya, and who has performed after that this Nachiketa Yajna 3 times, such a person, Tarati Janma Mrityu, he overcomes birth and death. That means he finally will be led to the knowledge, and step by step method he will be attain the ultimate moksha. Brahma Yajnam, this is a single word used. Brahma means actually here it is Brahma. Brahmaja means Virata Purusha, the cosmic Sthula manifestation. That is Hiranyagarbha or Brahma, nobody can see. He is conceived of the creator. But the creator has first given birth to the whole universe, which is called Virata Purusha. That means it is a manifest Sthula manifestation. It's a gross manifestation, gross world. And Jna means that Virata also, he knows everything because he is the creator of the whole universe, so he is the creator. Brahma Yajnam. That is, Brahma Yajna is referred to the Virata Purusha. Devam Idyam. He is the Deva, the real revealer. Idyam means who is Sarvajana Pujita. That means who is worshipped everywhere, who is respected and worshipped everywhere. Viditva. That is, after performing this 3, the person who has undergone these 3 kinds of study, that from the mother, father and the teacher, then performed 3 times Nachiketa Yajna, and then he comes to know this Virata Purusha, then finally Nichaya Imam Shantim Atyantameti. This Nichaya word is very important. Finally knowing this Agni, that is Agnividya which has been given, knowing that fire to be his own Atma, there comes the most important. Shantim Atyantameti. Then finally he attains the ultimate peace. Initially it starts with a ritual, but as he does the rituals properly with a proper learning process, everything as he does, everything properly according to the Vedic prescriptions, finally he takes to knowledge, comes to understand what is this whole universe and where is it supported. The support is right within us, my own Atma, the I, which I am always using, not knowing its dimension, not knowing its universal dimension. That consciousness is the support of the whole universe. Nichaya, this word is very important. Knowing and realizing that Agni to be his own self. Atyantam, Shantim Atyantameti. Then only he can get the ultimate Shanti or peace. त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
स मृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
समृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके
शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके
तृणाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
त्रिनाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा
य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतम्
स मृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
समृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य
शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके.
शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके.
See, he ends it with Shokatigo Modate Swargaloke. Nachiketa had asked that Swargaloka where there is no fear, no thirst, no hunger, and Shokatigo Modate Swargaloke. Here he ends that he becomes Shokatigo Modate Swargaloke. He enjoys in the Swargaloka. But where? Not that kind of a Swarga. He is saying that such who has performed that 3 times Nachiketa Yajna. Here 2 words are very important. Evam and Purataha. Evam viditva. Evam viditva means in the earlier verse he has said that by knowing that Nichaya, knowing that Agni to be his own self, knowing like that, some Mrityupashan Puratah Pranodya. He crosses all the bondages of death before the body falls. That is, before actual death, he crosses over all the strangleholds of death. That means you can say the stranglehold of raga, dvesha, all kinds of kama, krodha, lobha, anything you can say. Or you can say that he becomes a jivan mukta by going beyond all the bondages. Purataha means before the body falls. That means it is not after. What Nachiketa asked is the Swargaloka who attains after the body falls to that Swargaloka. Here he is clarifying that one who can know this and who can realize this Agni as his own self, he does not have to die. Before that itself he knows that he is immortal. That is the real Swargaloka. See, slowly he is putting in the real thing. These are all there in it. But final knowledge will come much later. He would not like to give also easily. Now the test will start from tomorrow. Then, Eshate Agnir Nachiketa Swargyo
Eshate Agnirnachiketa Swargyo
Yama Vrinitha Dvitiyena Varena
Yamavrinitha Dvitiyena Varena
Etamagnim Tavaiva Pravaksyanti Janasaha
Etamagnim Tavaiva Pravaksyanti Janasaha
Tritiyam Varam Nachiketo Vrinishva.
Tritiyam Varam Nachiketo Vrinishva.
After telling all these things, he is saying, concluding this second boon, saying that this is the Agni, Nachiketa, you have asked in the second boon, you have asked for. This is that Agni Vidya. And this Agni Vidya henceforth will be known in the earth, on the earth by your name. Pravaksyanti Janasaha. People will talk about it, giving it, calling it as Nachiketa Agni. Now Nachiketa, ask for the third boon. Tritiyam Varam Nachiketo Vrinishva. Ask the third boon. Now third boon was the last boon. In between he has given a fourth one also, that Mala and by his name it will be known. The third boon was the last boon, and that is what the Nachiketa's real enquiry from his heart. Now see, he has kept it for the last. Initially, he thought about my father should be all right. Then he's thinking of the society, and the society should be kept on the moral path. For that, whatever is needed. Then the third, he is asking about his, you call it self-realization or whatever. He is asking what happens when the body falls. The third question will be, Vara will be, I would like to know what happens when the body falls. That is there self or is there not? What is that, etc. We will come to that. But see, that people, those who even pursue self-realization also, they have a desire for self-realization. I have been hammering this so many times. This desire is a hindrance. It is not necessarily necessary. Initially it is necessary to keep away all other desires. But as soon as you become a wholesome seeker, this desire has to be kept away, otherwise you will never be able to become self-realized. And this is what makes all the spiritual people very narrow-minded, self-centered, selfish. Because they think, I will become self-realized, I will, oh, ye karna hai, meditate karna hai, wo karna hai. They forget about the society, they forget about the family, everything. But real spirituality is not leaving everybody and then isolating yourself from everything, and for your self-seeking only that self-realization is necessary. It's a process of expansion. If a real sannyasin does not leave the house just cutting off and running away from the house. His mind starts becoming bigger and bigger, expanded and expanded. So he cannot only think of the family, he starts thinking of the society, he starts thinking of the civilization, of the ultimate goal of human life as well as the society. It is an expansion process. It is not cutting away from the family and going planting yourself in a cave and then thinking. It might be necessary in the process for some time, that is different. But the mind has to grow in dimension. It is not a sankirna, it is not a constricted mind which only thinks of myself. Even in a CIRD also like this. It is meant for the society. It is to generate and radiate spirituality in the society. In the process, those who pursue this societal dimension, they will improve spiritually also, because otherwise they will not be able to improve. They are trying to attain self-realization remaining in their small circle. Self-realization is not like that. It's a great expansion. So, this Swamiji has made these institutions, or everywhere these spiritual institutions are made to generate the centripetal force in the society, to bring back the Loka Sangraha, create the Loka Sangraha in the society, so that the people of the society are brought back on the auspicious track. It is always radiating that force to bring the society back on the auspicious track. And any individual who joins such an institution and works for it, works with a social dimension, not for only my goal there. And by that his mind also, his heart also expands. Otherwise he is not able to expand the heart. He is remaining only with his own some small gain. That also they are not sincere about it. That is why they don't progress. That is different. But this societal dimension is very important. Here, that is why I am saying, you simply think of Nachiketa's mindset. Sitting at home, you think that how is this boy? He does not have any desire at all, but he is the fittest person for self-realization. He has all the gunas to imbibe whatever is represented by self-realization. And he is thinking of his father, he is thinking of the society, and then asking for the enquiry, which is the deepest enquiry of his heart. And from there, Yamaraja could not destabilize him at all. He will see how much of hard test he had to undergo. Everything he rejected. He does not want anything other than the knowledge of the truth. So tomorrow is the question of Nachiketa, on which whole Kathopanishad is based. So the story is not over, because this question, after he asked for the third moon, Yamaraja refuses, that nobody on earth knows about it, even the heaven, the devas are also deluded about it. You are a small boy, how can I give you? And he goes on testing him, but you take this, you take that, etc. Finally, when Nachiketa gives his bombshell, that 4 statements which not from he is giving a sermon to Yamaraja, Shobhava Matyasya Yadanta Gaitat, we will come to that. Then Yamaraja feels that this boy cannot be refused. He is a fit receptacle for this knowledge, and I have to give it.